record on this computer. Okay. Thank you. So 8 events, and these are the possible events and their events probability. Event 0, event 1, event 2, event 3, and these are the corresponding probabilities. So if you see the distribution of this entire, this tossing 3 coin and finding head, this is the probability distribution. 0 head, 1 event, and their probability is like 12.5. 1 head, 3 events, and 37.5. 2 heads, 3 events, and again, and this is the third case where all heads, which is 12.5. So this is called probability distribution. Why this is discrete probability distribution? Because the events are 0, 1, 2, 3. We don't have any event, 1.2 events, 2.4 events. So only integers are there. Therefore, this is discrete probability distribution. Now we have two types of probability distribution. One is PDF, one is CDF, which is probability distribution function and cumulative distribution function. What are these two? I'm just briefly going to explain. Let me start my Excel. I have some Excel and Minitab. So Minitab right here. And give me a minute. Okay. 1 more minute. I think I have salary data. I hope you can see my Excel. Can you see my Excel? Okay, thank you. So I give this example. Look into my saving account. For example, this is my saving account. And when I started saving, at the initial stage or at the 0th month, I had 20,000 saving in my account. When I started 2020, first month or first month I deposited 8,500, or I saved this much. Second month I saved this much. Third month this much. 12th month I saved $10,000. So from 0 to 12 months I have this saving. And if I say my all saving from last 0 month to 12 month, what is my saving? And if I plot my distribution of this would be PDF or probability distribution, because it represents each month saving, individual saving. And let me go with, here you can see. So this is called PDF or probability distribution or probability density function, because 0th month I can see 20,000, first month January I can see, February I can see, or all the way to December I can see. So this is individual month saving. Even before starting saving I have deposit. So this is total. This is called probability PDF. Now look into the same thing. 0 month I have 20,000. First month I save, and which 8,500 becomes 28,500. Then I saved 7,200, which is again, so 28 plus 7, 35, 700 plus 8,800, which is 44,500. At the end of the day, I accumulated up 125,001. So let me plot this. Let me plot this also. And you can see, so yeah, this is the chart. This is called cumulative CDF. So this is because it starts from 20,000, it accumulates all the way to $125,100. So this is called CDF. Similarly, this is cumulative distribution function and probability distribution. These are the two functions that we use in all the probability distributions. So PDF, CDF. CDF reaches all the way to 100, and this is the individual value, individual event probability, and this is a cumulative events probability. What is the expected value? Now, another important concept, then we are going to go directly on Minitab. Expected value is multiplication of event and event probability, or sum of, and it is also known as mu, which is, you know what is mu? Mu is mean, event and event probability. Look into this case. Event 0 has 5% probability, event 1 has 10% probability, event 2 has 30%, event 5 has 10%. Total probability should not be more than 100 or more than 1. Then what is the expected value? XPX equal to multiplying these things and then summing all these events. So we have 5 events here, 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the expected value is 2.75. So, and then again the same concept like we learned, mu and standard deviation, mean and standard deviation. This is the formula of standard deviation. You don't need to worry because everything is done by computer and calculator automatically, or Minitab or Excel, so you don't need to worry. So same variance and standard deviation. Now we are coming on very first distribution, which is uniform distribution. What do you understand from uniform distribution? Every event probability is equal. Let's say if I say, I am giving very simple example here. Let's say freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. We have 4-year students in my NA statistics. I have 60 students, out of which I have 15 from freshman, 15 from sophomore, 15 from junior, or 15 from senior. Then what is my event? Event of freshman is 25%, sophomore. So all the event are equally distributed. Or let's say saving account from January, or from 0th event or January to all the way to 12 month, every month I am saving $10,000. Means uniformly, no single penny more, single penny less, all only 10,000 each month, means uniformly saving. That is called uniform distribution. It doesn't have much application, but this is called uniform distribution. A is lower limit, B is upper limit. And what is a PDF function here? CDF function. Mean is A plus B divided by 2. Standard deviation is this. So basically 4 important parameter, 4 important formulas. Mean and standard deviation we already learned. These are very important concepts. In every distribution, we also remember PDF and CDF. So for example, here, this is a uniform distribution, and this is a cumulative uniform distribution. So I'm just going forward. Now let's come on the binomial distribution. Please pay your attention, because binomial and Poisson are the 2 important distributions, and these are discrete distribution. What is the important thing? Look into the theoretical part. 2 important things here you can say. Only 2 possible outcomes is called Bernoulli experiment. Let's say if you say pass, then what is the opposite is fail. If you can say success is failure. Let's say tomorrow I will go to university. This is positive, and it's a probability 40% chance that I will go to university. Then what is the I will not go to university is 60%. So only 2 possible. Let's say in Washington state, 40% of registered cars don't have insurance, no insurance. Okay, then what is the probability of having insurance is 60%. So basically, if you come across this kind of situation, yes or no, positive, negative, we can apply binomial distribution very easily. Let's take an example before going, and the event probability of both event, pass plus fail or success plus fail, or yes or no, both event probability is 1. Means sum of both. Let's say 40% is insurance and 60% is not insurance. The total probability is 1. So please remember, when do we use this? This is the situation. Okay, and the condition. So expected value is this much and variance is this much in this. So this is again binomial. Mean is n pi, standard deviation is this, PDF is this, CDF is this. Let me look into this example. So I have option to share 2 screens together. Display setting. Display where I can see. I was just thinking I can do 2. Okay, let it be. So I hope you can see my. Here under calculate, we have probability distribution, and right here we have binomial distribution. We have Poisson distribution, binomial distribution, geometric distribution, hypergeometric distribution. All distributions are right here. So let's go under calculate probability distribution, binomial. Now you know the value. We are going to check PDF, probability is PDF, CDF is the second one, and inverse situation is the third one. So when do we use, let's say I'm just giving, so see two screens at once, you can drag one screen to the left and one to the right, and okay, okay, thank you. So let me see if I can do that. So let me explain one example then. Let's say in Washington, Spokane County, this is the data from the state government that 20% cars don't have insurance. So 20% no insurance. Okay. Then 80% having the insurance. Now police department wants to check who has the insurance, who doesn't have the insurance. What they do, they cannot stop everyone on the street. They cannot stop every car on the street. What they can do, they take the random sample. Let's say they stop 8 cars. They stop 8 cars. What is the probability that no one have insurance, which is event 0? What is the probability out of 8? At least one will have the insurance, 2 will have the insurance, 3 will have the insurance, 4 will have, 5 will have, 6, 7, 8. So all the way to 8. So basically, what is the probability that? So let me go with the example here. And so here the question says, what is the probability that exactly 2 of the next 12 cars serviced are late? Here in case of, so we are going to check event 2. The sample is 12 and probability is 10%. So number of try, so here 12, the probability is 10% and input constant is 2. Let me see. And here we get the probability is 23%. N equal to 2, probability P equal to 10%, event X equal to 2 equal to 23%. So let me do one more time if I can do 2 screens together. And this is the, okay, and just, I think, I'm not able to do. Anyway, it to the, okay, hold the top bar and drag, okay. And so my Minitab, okay. I need to learn, and I probably in the next class. Let it be, because, so this is the case. Yeah, that I did. Okay, let me learn, then I will do. Thank you, Sia. So this is the case of binomial distribution. Similarly, you can do, let's say this example, let's look into that. On an average, 20% of emergency room patient at Greenwood General Hospital lack health insurance, means 20% don't have the insurance. In a random sample of 4 patients, means they look into the sample, 4 patients, what is the probability that at least 2 will be uninsured? This is the part of compound event. At least 2 means 2, 3, 4. So we have to check all the things. So basically the range of the event is 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 4. We would like to check here event at least 2 means 2, 3, 4. Means 3 events together, they become the answer. If we add all 3 events, becomes the answer. But it is difficult to do because, you know, this is just 3 case, you are doing 20 case, you have to do each of them multiple times. And so here is the answer for this. And I can answer at data levels. So this is the role of cumulative function. Now my question is here, this is 20,000 to 125,000. What is the probability? What is my saving after June? So this is June. What is my saving after June? How I can do? In that I have to add July, I have to add August, September, October, November, December. Here I can do in one step. What I will do, I will do the probability, I will do up to June, which is here I can know 69 4,000, total is 125,000, and very simple, minus 69,400, and I can get this answer. Okay, this is the total saving of this time after June. Suppose the question is, what is my saving up to May? Up to May means I can directly get the answer here. This is my saving up to May. So this is the beauty of cumulative function, that in one shot I can get the answer. Otherwise I have to sum each event one by one and then 5 times or 6 times, and then I can get the answer. Here, if suppose I'm asking above some limit, I know the total and then I subtract below and I can get rest of the events. If I know up to this, I can directly get up to this and I can get to know the answer. So look into this. Here is it is asking probability of 2, 3, 4. What I will do here? In this case, what I need to do? I just need to do, because I need to give the answer, I can get to know up to probability 1. And then I can subtract total probability and whatever value I can get from here. So 1 minus whatever probability of 1, and that will be my answer. So look into. So here this is asking 20%, 20%, and okay, I'm going here, calculate probability distribution, binomial probability, number of events or number of trials are 4, probability is 20%. And now I just check this cumulative probability and I can do the event up to 1. So I will know up to 1 and then I will subtract. Up to 1 is 80%. So rest 81 or 82. So rest is 1 minus 82.82, which is 0.18 is the answer. Is it making sense? If you understand this, then we can go very quickly. If this is clear to you. Yeah, so exactly the same. Thank you. So this is the answer, 18% is the answer. Instead of doing multiple steps, you can do in one go. Now the same thing we can do. I think I forgot to do the tables. The same numbers we can get using tables also. So this is binomial and this is called compound event. So you have to focus on this slide in order to understand. If you are asking at least 2, means 2, 3, 4 in this case. If you are asking fewer than 2, means 2 is not counted. What is less than 2 is 0 and 1. Fewer than 2 means 0 and 1. More than 2 means 3 and 4. Means in this case, 2 is not counted. So please understand the wording. Please understand the concept, because that is very important in order to decide the X value. So if this is clear, this is binomial distribution. Now the second is Poisson distribution. Poisson distribution used this average, or Poisson distribution describe the number of occurrence with a randomly chosen unit of time. Let's say on any airport, number of flights arriving in particular time period, let's say per minute, number of flights arriving on New York JFK airport, number of in 1 hour, number of flights departing from Seattle airport. In any bank, number of customers are coming in any bank branch during this particular time, or in any store, number of customers are coming. So basically this is Poisson distribution is described in such cases where you can have any time and arrival per unit of time. So then in that case, Poisson distribution is used. So and that average or that number of arrival is denoted by lambda, which is also called mean in Poisson distribution, standard deviation in the square root of lambda, and that is here. So mean and standard, this is PDF and CDF and nothing else. Here you can see the question. In particular morning between 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., customers arrive and enter the queue at University Credit Union at mean rate 1.7 customer per minute using Poisson formulas. So lambda is 1.7 per minute. And here, what is the probability that two or fewer customer will arrive in a given minute? So it is asking 2 or less than 2. Again, this is compound event probability because it is asking not particular event, it is asking compound. So I'm just using calculate probability distribution. Here we have Poisson distribution. What is the mean? 1.7, I believe. Input constant, what is the input constant? 2, up to 2. And this is a cumulative. And what is the probability? Is 0.75 or 75%. Is it making sense? So this is 75%. And here if you ask what is the probability of at least 3 customers, means you need to get the value up to 2 and subtract from 1. So 1 minus we got up to 2, and this is 24% is at least 3 customers. So this is Poisson distribution. Is it clear? And here we have also under graph, and we have probability plot. Under graph, probability distribution here. Here you can choose all the, where's the binomial distribution here. Let's say in binomial distribution, number of tries, like, very first example, event probability is 10% is this, and you can see the so this is the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, n equal to 12. Probability is, so this is a probability plot. Similarly, I can go with probability distribution for Poisson, this case. And binomial, I need to go to Poisson here. Mean is 1.7. And what area I need? I need up to 2. Oh, that I need to go in. So basically, this is the probability plot for lambda equal to 1.7. So again, we go in probability distribution. We have all the options. Okay. And we have Poisson, cumulative Poisson. Do we have here? So here you can see here, what is the value up to 2 is 75%. Remaining is, so you have to choose here and you can make graphs here very easily. And the same question I'm going to do in binomial, where we have binomial distribution. Is trial is 12, event probability is 10%. The shaded area, which area we need this up to, or we need this, or we need this. So we need, let's say, up to 1. Here it is coming from 0, n equal to 12, p equal to 1, up to 1, it is coming 65%, remaining is this much. So in each example, you have reviewed the probability is already defined. Generally speaking, where is that probability coming from? Very good question, Jim.
In each example, you have reviewed the probability is already defined. Can Mr. Given is that problem? Where is it?
Okay, probability, from where the probability is coming, let me explain again. So basically, we are looking into the, here the probability, this is rate. Let's look into this binomial case. Here, 20% is the room patient, 20% are insured or 20% lack health insurance. So basically, this is a pie. And now what we are going to check, we are going to check the event, particular event. So this is in general, which is not, this we got from here. Now we are looking on particular event. Here we have taken a sample of 4 patients. and pi is uninsured is 20%, insured is 80%, n is equal to 4. Now we would like to see what is the event. These are the events: 0%, uninsured 0%, 1% uninsured, 2% uninsured, 3 or 4. So basically these are the events, and we are looking the probability of these events. This is 20% is the data or based on a data already defined. So we don't have any probability. We are looking the probability of these events based on the sample that we got or we are going to test. Jim, is it clear? Or it can be very easily explained using a table. So let me go and explain. Just a minute. Unsure. Here, just a minute. I'm going to pull the table which are there. So give me a minute. Yes, 20% is coming from the previous observation. Like, I said in Washington State, Spokane County, 20% car are uninsured. Okay, now police want to check which is not insured. They can't stop all the cars. They can randomly stop 8 or 10 or 20 in order to check, in order to give the fine. So basically this 20%, 40%, 60%, this is coming based on the past result, based on the past data that they have. So one more minute. Is it making sense? Okay, let me go with this. Yeah, this is not. Can you see this? If you can see this, these are the tables which are on the back side of the book. And you can see here on the, I have to take, this is the pi value, which is already a percentage. Here, this is 1%, 2%, 10%, all the way to here. Oh, I don't know what happened. Okay, so here you can see these are the pi values of percentage. Here is the n value, n equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and keep going up to down. You can get n equal to up to 20 here. So we were looking into the case of n equal to, for example, 8. N equal to, and I believe this is, for example, 10 or 20. So this is the event 0 probability. I mean, exact the same number you will get here. This is 0 event probability, 1 event, 2 event, 3 event, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Similarly, so this is n, and these are the x values inside this. N and x value. So exactly the same value we will get. And this is the Poisson. In Poisson, what is the important factor? Lambda. Lambda is 0, 1, 2, 3, 1.7. What we checked here, look, we just did 1.7. Lambda, what we did up to 0, 1, 2, 3. So basically, I think we checked up to 2. And this is event 2 equal to 26 plus 31. We checked, I think, this 3 together. If you sum all 3, these are coming 20, which is almost 70. 75% is all 3 together. So if you don't have the calculator or computer, and I used to do all these calculations with the help of these tables, printed tables we used to have in the book. So exactly the same thing, we can get all. Remember this, for example, you just remember this, and we are going to get exactly the same thing right here. So let me do this, or look into, so I am going to check here event, and this is probability. Event 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to do binomial as well as Poisson distribution for all of them. Calculate probability distribution, binomial. Let me see what we need here. Number of trials are like, you said here we have 8 because we are going to, event probability is, let's say, 0.1. Input column. Now I am having this input. Output storage, even I can store in C2 column, or I can make here. So let me do this on C2, which is, sorry, probability. So now I'm all set. Look into the probability of 0th event is this. And now this is cumulative probability. By mistake, what I did cumulative one. So this I did cumulative. Now I need to do this. Then I have to do another column, which is C3. And now C here. So this is, I can say CDF, and here this is PDF. So this is exactly at 0 event. PDF and CDF are same. Here PDF is 38. This is because here it is adding previous values, and you can see this is the probability distribution for particular percentage and particular n and pi. So this is binomial distribution. Similarly, I can do for Poisson CDF, PDF, Poisson, and calculate probability distribution, Poisson, and here is 1.7. I'm going this. Input column is event, which is same. Output, I can go 4, C4. And this is exactly the same we did. So if you look into this binomial and Poisson distribution, these can be very easily calculated using Minitab. So you don't need to refer these. So Jim, if it is clear, I'm going forward, because I know your question is there, which we are going to talk about percent and percentile. So this is binomial and Poisson distribution. And when do we use PDF? When do we use CDF? Do you understand now? PDF, when you want to know exact event probability. Means if you are going to know what is the event 0 probability, what is the event 1, 2, 4, or whatever, if you are going to know exact event probability, means X equal to event 0, 1, 2, then we are going to use PDF. When you are going to check compound event, means, when you are going to check more than or less than, then you are going to use CDF. In case of CDF is greater than or less than, in such cases, we are going to use CDF. So this is the learning. After this, if you have any issue, you can just stop me. And also you remember, when do we use Poisson distribution? When do we use binomial distribution? Now here we have the hypergeometric distribution. In hypergeometric distribution, only one important thing is there. You have population and you have sample. Means here, similar to binomial distribution, but here the population number is given. So number of items in the population, the sample size, number of success in the population, and this. So for example, if 20,000 cars in Spokane County and we have taken a sample of 200 cars, if such kind of situation is given, then means population parameter is also given, then we are going to use hypergeometric. Whenever population is defined, this is the case. So here this is the case. Look into that. In a shipment of 10 iPods, 2 were damaged and 8 are good. The receiving department at Best Buy tests sample of 3 iPods at random to see if they are defective. So n equal to 10, n equal to 3, sample is, so total 10 samples. 3 are the sample, 2 are defective, and let's see what is the probability of here. So we have here state is hypergeometric right here. Here we have, I'm just going to check here. Population size is 10. Sample size is 3. Event count in population, 2 are defective. Now look into that. You can check 0 are defective in sample. You can check 1 is defective. You can check 2. Let me go with 1. And we are just looking the probability. We are not going CDF. The probability is 46%. So this is the case of, so probability of 0 is 46%, probability of 1 is 46%, probability of 2 is 6%, 6.67. So you can do this PDF 0, 1, 2, and you can. So this is hypergeometric function, hypergeometric distribution. After this, we have another distribution which is called geometric distribution. A geometric distribution describes the number of Bernoulli tries until first success is achieved. So until first success is achieved, for example, let's say until first uninsured car is fined. That is the case, when, if you are checking a sample of 8 or 10 and first, so look into the example. A university, 15% of alumni make a donation during annual telefund. What is the probability that first donation will occur on 7th call? So we are going to check what is the probability that first donation will come on 7th call or 5th call or 4th call. Here is pi is probability. This is PDF. This is CDF. And let's look into the situation here. Calculate probability distribution, and geometric is right here. The probability is 70. What is the probability in this case? 15%. And input constant 7, which is 56%. No, 5.6%. Yes, which is 5.6%. So what is when on 7th call the donation will come is 5%, 5.6%. So this is basically, these are the distribution we need to study in chapter number 6. If all 4 distributions are clear, 5 distribution, let me proceed in chapter number 7. Any question related to this? Jim? Okay. Now we are going on the next part, which is called continuous probability distribution. The difference between discrete and continuous is very simple. Here, all the remains same. What is the discrete and continuous? Here, let me go with here. The difference is, in discrete, we used to check the probability on single event. In continuous probability distribution, we don't have any probability of single event. Here, in continuous probability distribution, we always check the area. We always check the area. So this is the area. We check the area between 2 points. And this is also called normal probability distribution. So I'm just directly jumping on normal distribution. Normal distribution, bell curved, Gaussian distribution, these are the name of the same distribution. Here, two important parameters, mu and sigma, which is mu is mean and sigma is standard deviation. Domain is minus infinite to plus infinite. Remember, and 99.7% of data is within 6 sigma, mu minus 3 sigma, mu plus 3 sigma, and we are going to check here. So this is the very first concept I need to explain right here. You can see these two. These are going all the way to infinite. Means this curve is not touching the bottom. Here this is going all the way to minus infinite. Means this is not touching the bottom or base. Means they can be very, very, very close to zero, but they are not zero. Therefore, the range is minus infinite to plus infinite. Is it making sense? For standard mean, this is mean, and these are plus or minus 3 sigma, both sides. And in going into that, PDF is like this, PDF is like this, CDF is like this. Now let's go into the real example. And I think I need to open the file, which is just a minute. So let me open the file, and then we will work on real example. Or let me create the data myself. So here I have a Minitab, and let me start a new sheet here. Let's say this is a price of houses, house price in Spokane County, and 1,000 house. Okay. So a survey has been done. Based on the survey, they have 1,000. So I'm just going to integer. So calculate. So number of, I'm just going to get 1,000, store in column C1. Minimum value is 300,000. I think, yeah, 300, and maximum 500,000. So here I have the data of I have the prices of 1,000 houses in a Spokane South Hill area. Minimum is 300,000 and maximum is 500,000. Let me go and plot the normal distribution. Here I go on a stat, or I can go on graph. I go on histogram. I check this. Okay. And I go on this, and let's do this. And this is the n equal to mean is 400,000, 496, 400,096 dollars. Standard deviation is 57,000, and there are 1,000. Now, this is the data we have mean and the standard deviation. Now, my question is that what is my house value? In which percentile my house value is coming? Let's say I have my house value is, let's say, 450,000. In what percentile it will come? Let me see. Graph. And I can go again, probability distribution. I can use this. Okay. Instead of that, I will go to normal. Wherever is normal, here. Standard normal distribution always have zero mean and always have one standard deviation. We are not checking that. We are just using this. The mean is 496. Standard deviation is 57,614. Now I would like to check where is the, so my X value, my house value is 450,000. Let's look into that. Can you see this? This means 80%. Here you can see this area is, bottom area is 80%. This is 80%. And this is like remaining 20. So my house price is more than 80 plus percentile. Means less than 80% houses, 80% houses in my area is lower than my house value. Now I would like to know what is the value of 90 percentile house. Now 90 percentile, what is the value? Here I got 45,000 is. Now I would like to check, I would like to sell my house in top 10 percentile. My house value should be 90 percentile of the area. Then how I can decide the price of my house? Let me go and do again the same thing. Where is here? Graph, probability distribution. Okay. Here I have the exactly the same numbers. Under this, I'm going to check the probability, and instead of 5%, I'm going 90%. Okay. And again this, because I'm just going to look. What should be the value if I want to sell in 90 percentile, above 90 percentile? My house value must be above this, because 90%, this value, 473,931. This is the mark. Below this, we have 90 percentile of the house values. So if I mark somewhere 474,000 plus, then I can be in top 10 percentile. Is it making sense? Jim and Jacob, is it making sense?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So similarly, there was a question from Jim about percentage and percentile. I think I explained in that. Let me go one more time here by drawing. And okay, let me clean that first. Okay, here we go. Under graph, we go probability distribution. I go this, okay. So I'm just going normal. In a standard normal, mean is always 0 and the standard deviation is always 1. I think I demonstrated in last class. Now look into the shaded area. So I'm just going to put the shaded area here. So what is the value? Here I can put the value of x. What is the value of -1 to +1? Can you see this? So x is equal to, this is mu minus 1 sigma, mu plus 1 sigma. What is the value? 68%. So this is 2 sigma. Now, again, I do this same graph probability distribution. Okay. And I do this -2 to +2. What is the value here? You can see 95.45%. 4 sigma. Now look into the graph probability distribution. Again, here I'm just looking -3 to +3. And this is 6 sigma. -3, what is 99.73%? Now my question is that, you know 2 sigma, 4 sigma, 6 sigma. What is the value of 1 sigma, 1 sigma, 3 sigma, and 5 sigma? What is the probability of 5 sigma? What is the probability of 3 sigma? And what is the probability of 1 sigma? The question, I think, is it clear to everyone? What am I asking? What is the value of 3 sigma, 5 sigma, and 1 sigma? Would be 0.5 and 1.5 to no. Yeah, exactly. Chris, you are correct. So here, like Chris said, here I'm going to go again. And okay, so we are not normally what people do, they just take, they manually do it. So I'm just going to do here, instead of this, I'm going to do 5 sigma, which is 2.5 and 2.5. So basically both side from the mean. And this is the 98.67. 98.76 is the 5 sigma. And here is 1.5 to 1.5. This is how much? 86% is 3 sigma. And the last one, 0.5 to 0.5. 38%. Normally 68 point some percent is the 2 sigma. And normally what people do, if I ask 1 sigma, 68 divided by 2, which is 34%, but exactly 38.29 is the value of this. So this is used for calculating. Now my question is here. Let's say you give any exam, 200,000 students are there in GMAT, and all 200,000 students average GRE is 680. This is average GRE. Okay. What about the standard deviation is like 40. Average is 40, or standard deviation is sigma is 40. And this is mu. Now suppose you score 720 and you want to know in what percentile you are. It's very easy. This is mean. You can certainly understand that you are better than 50% because 680 is the mean, which means 50% marks means you are more than 50%, but you don't know what is your range. So I'm just going to graph probability distribution. Okay. Now I put here mean is 660, I believe, if I put correct. Okay. Now I would like to know the area. Okay, I want which area, I need this area because this side I can get to know what is my score, 720. Okay. In what percentile is 93, means I'm in 94 percentile range because 93.32% students are below this. Is it making sense? So here is my question. I would like to make a difference between percent and percentile. And let me start my calculator. So in traditional way, 720 I scored. What is the total GMAT score? GMAT total is 850. And then what I get? What is my percent? 84.7% I scored. But here in percentile, when standard here, I got 93 percentile, 93.32 percentile precisely. So this is the difference between percentage and percentile. If I make so basically someone who scored like 620, he can be in 0 or 10 percentile. So it is, percentile is relative calculation. They are relative, means it totally depends upon the total people, those who appeared in exam and how they perform, what is the range and what is the standard deviation and what is the mean or average of all of them. Let's look into the same question. If suppose I scored 610 and the 660 and everything, and in what percentile I am in. So probability distribution, okay. And let's see, I put 610 here. Certainly it is less than 50 because 660 is a 50% mark. And I can say I am in 11th percentile because 10.56% is. So out of 850, if I scored even 610, my percentage is 10. If my percentile is 10 or 11 percentile, where if I look into simple calculation, 610 divided by 850, if I calculate, it is 70%, 71%, but percentile is just 10 percentile. So I hope now it should be clear. because whatever number you have, you divide. So you divide in 100 pieces that number, and that is percentile. So like if so minimum is, for example, 600 to 790. If this is the score in this GMAT, then in between 600 to 790, 100 pieces are done. And those are the percentile for this GMAT. And percentage is very simple. Whatever you score divided by total number. Jim, is it clear? Please let me know if anyone is having the issue. So you can calculate any, like, normally what happens in job interview, it is asked to us, what is your salary expectations? What is our answer? Normally we answer, normally people think at the beginning, okay, I need 70,000, I need 90,000, whatever. But the brilliant answer is, my salary need to be in top 10 percentile range with my similar, with similar expertise and similar, experience, in top 10%, top 15%. Even you can check, what is in what range or in what percentile you are earning. Your salary, the market average of, let's say, networking manager of any organization, let's say, IT program manager or IT project manager, and let's say you are earning $160,000 a year, and you various job sites like, Indeed or Chronicle, they have the data of all the designation, and they give the, okay, mean of the IT project manager is like 120,000, standard deviation is this. Okay, then you can calculate your own, you are in 70%, 80%, 90% of where you are. So basically this is percentile, and this is about chapter number 7. So normal distribution, z equal to x minus mu upon 6. So you can do the -1 to +1, minus infinite to plus infinite. 0 is mean, 1 is standard deviation. This is the curve. So where you can get, so standard, here you can see clearly, minus 1.96 to 1.1 plus 96 is 95%. So the values is minus 1.96 to 1.96. So 1 sigma to minus 1 sigma to plus 1 sigma is 68%, 2 to 2, 95, 3 to 3, 99. So this is 68. We just demonstrated these things. And this is the example. Suppose John took the economic exam and he scored 86 points. The class mean is 75 with a standard deviation 7. What percentile John in? So basically, if you don't need to do all the things, but you can directly go into Minitab and you can get the answer 86. I can also explain using calculator, but it is not required for you. So he is in 94 percentile. So inverse is just, you are putting the p value, in probability, and you get the x value. Like I said, 450,000 is x value, and you are getting. So inverse is this. Now after that, there are two approximation. You can convert binomial distribution to normal distribution. You can convert Poisson distribution to normal distribution. What is that? Here, when n and pi is greater than 10, n 1 minus pi is greater than 10, in this case, you can go and convert binomial distribution to Poisson distribution. What we need for binomial distribution to normal distribution? What do we need for normal distribution? We need mu and sigma. And what normally given for binomial? N and pi. You can calculate mu and sigma and you can compute. So basically, how you can convert binomial to this normal? Similarly, so for example, 32 into n equal to 32.5 is 16, and this is also 16, which is greater than 10. In this case, you can convert. Now, when we convert discrete to continuous, here is the important point, which is very important. Suppose in discrete, we used to take 17 or 18, but what do we do here? We take in between point in order to make continuous. So 17 plus 18 divided by 2, which is 17.5. Just, if you are interested, you can understand very easily. Similarly, you can do. So basically what here, mu is n pi, which is 16, sigma is 2.84, and now you have all the numbers to calculate. Similarly, normal approximation for Poisson means you can convert Poisson distribution to normal. You just need to convert mu equal to lambda, sigma is equal to square root of lambda, which is this. And exactly the similar way, now we have exponential distribution. Since this is not important, but you can just exponential distribution and triangular distribution, which is also not important. What is the significance of exponential distribution? I'm just going to explain briefly. If the event per unit of time follow Poisson distribution, the time until the next event follows the exponential distribution. So here until next event is exponential. So it is Poisson distribution, but when the next event will occur, it is exponential distribution. So between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, patient insurance inquiries arrive at Blue Choice Insurance 2.2 calls per minute. What is the probability of waiting more than 30 seconds for next call? So 30 seconds needs to be converted into minute. Lambda equal to 2.2, x equal to 50.50 minute. And if we put all these numbers, we get 33.29%. So this is exponential distribution. So if you have any data of anything like, how you are performing, if you know the class mean and class standard deviation, you can get to know in what percentile you are in your class. Similarly, salary, similarly, your sales of the business, marketing response, or any data you have about your business, you can do these percentile easily. So if you have any question, please let me know. So to be honest, RC, you don't need to know any formula. You need to know the concept. You are already applied people, we are not, asking you to give, like I do for undergraduate students. Even I allow them to have the book and everything. You don't need to remember. You need to remember only using Minitab or Excel to understand the problem and bring the solution. That's it. So yeah, just basically you should know what is the basic statistics that normally nowadays used in business. So like I give this housing prices example, you can take your sales example, you can take your revenue example, you can take your many example of your business. and you can see what is the 90 percentile, what is the bottom line, what is the, different question you can answer yourself. Any other question? If you don't have, I think from next class onwards, we have only one chapter in each class. So that will, so far we are covering 2 chapters in each module or each week. If you don't have any question, I would like to say have a good night and most welcome. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, thank you. Always most welcome. Yeah, probably if you have any problem with my communication, you can just let me know. I can come, I can explain. Yeah, we are skipping chapter 5, that we will cover in next module, next course. So we don't have chapter 5. If you have any question understanding my language, understanding my, communication, just let me know, because, I'm from India. I don't have the American accent, but the statistics is universally same. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. Now you can see, John, you can see the slides because I redid it. I just did it. I mean, during morning, I think John or Jim asked me, so I did it during morning. So you won't have. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night. Happy Memorial Day.